SuperTalk Mississippi Media production.
When banking starts to feel less personal, you know where to find us. Community Bank. Deep roots, local people, personal banking. Visit communitybank.net. Member FDIC.
Oh, yeah.
Good morning, Mississippi.
Everything gonna be all right this morning.
Mornings with Richard Cross.
Oh, yeah.
Here on SuperTalk Mississippi.
Woo! Now, when I was a young boy, at the age of 5, my mother said I was gonna be the greatest man alive.
Good morning to you on a Thursday. We are so close to the weekend, you can almost taste it, and I hope you're ready for it. I think we all are at this point, especially after this week, for crying out loud. Dave Hughes with you in the big chair this morning, and over in the booth, we have the inimitable Will East. That's a hard word to say at 6:06 in the morning.
Say it again.
Yeah, no, now that you've tried to say admittedly, I'm not even going to try it again. I got it out once. I'm good.
Imitable?
Inimitable.
How many M's are in that? More than a bag of
One.
M&M's?
No, just one. Just one M.
Really?
Yes.
I can't even say it.
Inimitable. Like you imitate something, it's imitable. If you can't imitate it, it's inimitable.
I don't mean to disparage my background, but in Chickasaw County, we don't really use that word a whole lot. So just putting that out there.
You basically say, get out of here. And that's about it. Oh, man. How are you doing this morning?
I'm good. I've reached that point where I have started to wake up like a minute before my alarm clock goes off.
Yeah.
So my alarm clock is set for like 4:15. And I got up at 4:14 this morning. And
nice.
My dog has also become accustomed to getting up really early. I always say that when you do the morning show, if you don't do it on a regular basis, the first day is okay. The second day is the worst.
Yes.
It's absolute the worst because your body just hasn't adjusted to it. By the third day, by the fourth day, and if you do it, from Monday through Friday, on Friday, you're golden.
Yeah, you're good. You're in the groove then.
And then you decide, well, I'm gonna sleep in on the weekend, and then Monday it starts to cycle back over again. You're like, Monday's like, oh, I'm so tired. Tuesday's the worst. Then Wednesday, it gets better, and then over and over again. Yeah,
and that's you ought to try never knowing when you're going to be doing the morning show. That's fine. My schedule consists of what? Where? Had somebody ask me yesterday, trying to make some plans down here in Southwest Mississippi, wanted to know what I was doing on August 25th. And I said, my finest of dudes. My schedule has changed twice in the last 12 hours for this week. I have no idea, nor am I going to. So we just kind of roll with the flow as best we can. Want to start before we get anywhere else, and I know we talked about this yesterday, want to give a big hat tip to some of the people that wrote some beautiful pieces yesterday about Lance. Dark Horse Press, Teresa Apel was big friends with Lance. Personally, they had known each other all the way back in college.
Saw her on Tuesday before the news broke, yep.
Yeah, wrote a beautiful piece about it. The Clarion Ledger had a nice piece about our friend Lance as well. But I have to say, I didn't hear it yesterday morning live because, well, I wasn't doing morning, so I wasn't up yet. But day before yesterday, actually, when Richard gave his, I'm going to call it a eulogy. I don't know if it was exactly supposed to be that, but it was. It's what it served as for us on the air. I got to tell you, and you can ask anyone, I have said it many times, Richard is a consummate broadcast professional. I mean, there's no doubt of that. There's no questioning it. I will accept no arguments. He is good at what he does. That was quite possibly the best, most eloquent eulogy I have ever heard given on the radio. I've had to give a few, more than a few, in my decades on the air. I can't think of one that topped what he did there. It was absolutely beautiful, and I wanted to make sure that we recognized that because it was perfect. It was very well done. Very well done.
And he told the story about finding something. He's on vacation with his family. I believe they're in Wyoming, and he found something at one of these little gift shops. That he said, "Oh, that Lance would like that. I'm gonna get that for Lance." And he sent me a picture of it, and my phone's over there. Otherwise, I'd try to show it to you. But I could see that Lance having that on his wall in his office. If you go into Lance's office, which is Paul Gallo's old office, I explained this yesterday. It's in the way back. You got to be looking for it.
Yeah,
it's filled with all these little pieces conversational pieces where you pick it up and you go, "Oh." For instance, I'll give you an example. He has do you remember during Desert Storm, they came up with, not Desert Storm, during the Iraqi War, they had the deck of cards with Saddam Hussein as the ace or the king of queen, whatever it was. He's got one of those original decks in there. He's got a drum set in there. He's got all these little things where you go, that's interesting. Where'd you get that? And then a story would follow.
Well, and that was Lance, though.
Yeah.
He was an interesting guy. He was one of the most interesting guys you could ever hope to get to know. And Richard actually had me laughing with his eulogy at one point when he started talking about his text chain with Lance. Because, as you know, went for about a year. I did mornings every Friday. Mm-hmm. I filled in plenty of times. The latest one started about, 6 minutes ago. So Lance and I got to know one another. I've got one of those text chains too. Yeah. Probably not quite to the extent Richard has, but we would send each other stupid stuff and memes. And it was just last week he sent me one, and I went back and looked. And you got to scroll and scroll and scroll and scroll to get to the bottom of what he was saying before I said anything.
Yeah.
He was just such a unique, great guy, and he is most definitely going to be missed. I actually, right before I found out, you called and told me, right before I found out, I had just found something on X and said, I got to send that to Lance. And the phone rang. Literally just like that, because we did that back and forth. But that was a man that was interested in everything.
Yeah. You might get a text about the economy of Sweden, followed by, you're watching this pitcher, I can't believe he's throwing the fastball this way. He shouldn't be, his arm angle's all wrong. So
he's going to blow his elbow out.
Yeah.
Yeah, you did not know where anything was coming from, or you knew where it was coming from. It was coming from an unquenchable curiosity about life on planet Earth. He
would flip between Fox Business and watching Cops. Okay, this is the level. Let me see what Nvidia is doing on stock market. Also, this guy got arrested for find out that story.
I have before, in the same day, in the same couple of hours, off air, had a conversation with him about Grand Theft Auto 6 and when it's coming out, and the immigration reforms that are necessary to shut down problems. And you sit there and you're thinking to yourself, I thought I had a broad base of knowledge. I've always thought that. I've always prided myself on knowing a little bit about everything. 8 miles wide, an inch deep. That's me. He put me to shame. It wasn't even close. We had a lot of good times, a lot on the air. Always had a ball with him. And off the air as well. Just one of the most unique individuals I have ever had the privilege of knowing. And he will most definitely be missed. He's been missed every day this week by me, and I haven't even been on the network, but he's still been missed by me. So we continue to send out our thoughts, and thanks so much to all the kind comments on Facebook,
Yes.
on the C Spire text line, on everywhere. I've seen them all over the place. And just in case you missed it yesterday, you can go back and listen to the morning's rewind on our website. We also posted that audio on our Facebook page.
Yep.
It's actually where I listened to it last night. It popped up, and I said, oh, good. Saves me the trouble going to find it here in a minute. And listen to it right then and there. You can go find it there. I recommend you go give that a listen, because that's how it's done. Which is something we say about Richard Cross all the time. We give him a lot of heck. To be fair, it's because we like him. That's why we give him so much heck. But no heck to be given there. Fantastic, superlative job by Richard yesterday morning. We're just getting started. Boy, I got a beautiful lineup here of things to talk about today. We'll get to that later on in the show, though. Stick around. Onward and upward from here, my friend, on mornings here on SuperTalk Mississippi.
Good morning from the Venables.
With Richard Cross, Super Talk Mississippi.
Well, I'm gonna raise a fuss, I'm gonna raise a holler about working all summer just to try and earn a dollar. Every time I call my baby to try to get a date, my boss says, no dice, son, you gotta work late. Sometimes I wonder what I'm gonna do, cause there ain't no cure for the summertime blues.
Just blues in general right now, isn't it? Everywhere you look, it seems like. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm just getting more cynical, which is something I didn't think was physically possible. But it seems like every day, you just look around and throw your hands up and go, yeah, whatever.
And it's hot to boot.
That doesn't help.
Yeah. The heat doesn't help anything except for when you're cooking. All right?
No.
That's the only application where heat is great.
Yes.
Or maybe
Aside
if you're
from
on the
that,
beach.
leave it in the oven. That's where it needs to be. On the grill, that's where the heat needs to be. The good news is we're about to get a break from it for a little while and some rain.
I saw that.
I'm ready. Man, am I ready. It has been hotter than a $2 pistol for about a week now. But
So next, give them the temperatures in your neck of the woods for next week. Because I saw this and I was like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Yeah. An Arctic chill.
Yes. I've been trying to remember where I put my jacket. By Sunday, down here in southwest Mississippi in Pike County, we're going to be up to a high of around 90. That is frostbite warning territory. Yeah, I don't know how we're going to make it. Now, the heat index today is still going to be 107. But I want to put this in perspective.
Well, before you do that, can I give you the temperature in Tupelo, beautiful Tupelo, Mississippi, on Sunday? The high.
Yes.
81.
Oh, baby. Well, I've got to put in for my day off. I'm going to Tupelo Monday. Holy cow.
Now, a 40% chance of rain, so you may get a little wet. That's all right.
That's good. That's fine.
It won't be
Cools
steam.
it right off.
It won't steam up as soon as it hits the asphalt.
Well, that's the problem for the last week. When we did have a slight breeze, it didn't cool anything off. It was like stirring the gumbo. You didn't get any relief from it whatsoever. Have you ever been sandblasted? Well, with the Saharan dust in the air, that's basically what's been happening. But let's put it in perspective here, okay? Today is July 30th. Saturday is August. Okay, we're there. We're in the official dog days of summer. High temperatures on the thermometer in the mid to upper 90s is not an earth-shattering surprise. It's not something everyone should drop one wing and run in a circle squawking about. It's the end of July in Mississippi. What were you hoping for, a snowball fight? This is just the way it works. And there have been hotter ones. I've told the story on the Pike County show years ago, and people down here remember this. Decades ago, we had a heat wave come through in the middle of summer, and it got hot outside. Now, at the time, technology wasn't quite what it is now, so I got a really long mic cord. It was like 100-foot mic cord that we had lying around the studio for whatever reason, hooked it into the board, and in my morning show, took a microphone out in front of the studio and fried an egg on the sidewalk. You know, it's a typical radio stunt, something to talk about. You know, I've baked cookies on the dash. I actually had a guy, anyone who was with the Mississippi Highway Patrol will know the name, Bobby Reed. Shot in a lot of pistol tournaments with him. He was good friends with my dad. He had a thing that he did every time he showed up to a pistol tournament in the summer. He would bring with him a steak, and he would get it all seasoned and everything, wrap it in aluminum foil, and leave it on his dashboard. And when he got done, he had a steak ready to eat. Called them dash steaks. Dash steak. He said, that's the best steak you'll ever have, son. Oh, Bobby was a character. But a dash steak. But here's the thing. All of this goes to show this is not new. Now, you still have people right now running around going, oh, climate change is killing us. Look what it's doing to us. All of the weather maps that they use on television and quite a few on the internet. Red is the coolest color they use now. They try to find warmer colors even than that. And probably best exemplified when the little tropical system, the little tropical depression, Bertha, passed through New Orleans. I saw somebody post a weather map, and the strip that went across New Orleans was in bright, angry red. Yeah. And it said that there were going to be maximum sustained winds of 20 miles an hour. And that deserves the red temperature? The red color? No. We do the same thing with temperature. Everything has become fear-mongering. Yeah. Everything.
My favorite thing, Dave, is when you ever notice this? So they'll say, oh, this incredible heat wave's coming through. And they'll be like, oh, the Earth is getting so much hotter. And, it's the hottest it's been since 1923. And you go, wait a minute, it was hotter in 1923? So what? I don't get it.
We had a big heat wave that came through in Mississippi. If you go and you start looking at the temperature records, we had a big heat wave that came through in the 50s. A lot of our day-to-day temperature records still date back to that heat wave in the 50s. When climate change was at its worst. It was the data centers, obviously, in 1955 that were causing all this problem. So you go and you look, and I did this a couple of years ago because I got so sick of the nonstop fear-mongering about the climate. I started a thing, went to the National Weather Service and hunted down where you can look up the daily records for a location. On this date, the hottest as ever recorded in Pike County was this temperature. I tracked it every day for an entire summer. We set 2 records total. That's why I know it was the 50s, because I kept seeing it every day. No, the hottest one, it actually got 8 degrees hotter than this back in the 50s. So I know that. So I don't understand why we continue to buy into this nonsense.
Well, it just feels hotter. I don't know how to describe that. It's very weird. And look, I'm gonna tell you, air conditioning does obviously help. In the 1950s, I don't know what they did.
Yeah,
because ACs obviously weren't as prevalent. I mean, there used to be restaurants and businesses that would advertise, "Hey, we got AC." That was the attraction,
Well, I'll tell you, and I've got some bad news for you, Will. It feels so much hotter because we're older now and fragile.
Maybe that's it.
We're spoiled rotten. We spend all of our time in air conditioning. You're up there in the home office, as I know all too well. That office has 2 settings. Either you're in a broiler or you're freezing to death. There is no middle ground there. We get used to it. You go from the air conditioning in your workplace or in your house straight to the air conditioning in your car, stop by the air-conditioned store, and go home. So you're not used to it. You can get used to anything. Living down here, we have had enough dalliance with hurricanes over the years. As I say all the time, my wife is from Grand Isle. Every time I start talking about hurricanes affecting us bad, she just goes, yeah, sure, because that whole island's been wiped clean multiple times. But after Katrina came through, the power was out at my house for 3.5 weeks before it got restored. You get used to it. You can adjust to it quicker than you think.
Yeah.
You don't want to. No, trust me, nobody wants to. But
in a couple months, we'll be complaining about how cold it is.
Yes.
It's just
yes.
human nature. Somebody said on the text line, they said every year people act like it's never been hot before. That's true.
Yes. This, I'm sorry, is Mississippi.
Yeah.
It's the end of July. If you've got like your scarf out hoping to get to wear it anytime soon, I've got bad news for you too. Maybe in January you'll get a chance to whoop that thing around your neck and go strutting down the street. Until then, keep it in your pocket. Neck-induced heat stroke is what you're asking for with that right now. This is not abnormal, and don't buy what some people are trying to sell you that it is. It's my best advice for you. We continue on a whatever day this is morning. I've given up trying to even get it right. It's a day. Congratulations, the sun came up. We're having a good day. We'll continue here on mornings right after this. Keep it here.
Listen. Let's go. Waking up the Magnolia State. Mornings with Richard Cross. That's what it's here for. Super Talk, Mississippi.
Hot town, summer in the city. Back of my neck getting dirt and gritty. Bend down, isn't it a pity? Doesn't seem to be a shadow in the city. All around, people looking half dead, walking on the sidewalk harder than a match head. But at night it's a different world. Go out and find a girl. Come on and dance all night. Despite the heat, it'll be alright. And babe, don't you know it's a pity the days can't be like the nights in the summer.
Sorry, I was busy. I was sending a text to my good friend Will.
I'm looking at it.
Yes. Paul would be proud.
Paul would love this.
Yes. They caught the cross-eyed bear in Tennessee. Oh, man. Welcome back. Fun day tomorrow. You know, Sports Talk has been back home for almost a week, so it's time to send them out on the road again, right? You can't let them get comfortable. You got to shake things up. Sports Talk headed down to Laurel, to the Laurel Sportsplex on Highway 84 tomorrow to the Diamond Youth Baseball World Series. Teams from 11 states coming to Mississippi. And I've talked about this before. I think sometimes we underestimate the economic impact of youth sports because you've got teams from 11 states. Let's say, to keep the math simple, you've got, 10, 15 kids per team. Some of them are going to have more than that. You got over 100 kids playing, way over 100. Each one's going to bring a couple of parents, brother and sister. Some grandparents are going to show up to watch them play. You are literally looking at thousands of people headed to Laurel to spend money for a weekend. That can't be underestimated. That's a huge economic impact.
It's one of the things that Mississippi has been kind of on the forefront of. You look at areas like Tupelo in the metro area and then Laurel, and there's plenty of other examples across the state. DeSoto County. I went to a basketball tournament for a friend. His daughter was playing in a basketball tournament in DeSoto County, and we just so happened to be coming back from Memphis, and a brand new facility just opened up. It's literally in the middle of nowhere until you look over the horizon and you see 55 going right by. So it's like, normally this is a cornfield, or it's something. It's nothing. Trees, nothing. Now all of a sudden they've got this huge, amazing complex. You walk, the parking lot is full. There's kids everywhere, and you think, oh, where am I going to go eat after this? And these little local restaurants are just doing really great business, and normally you wouldn't have that.
Yeah, it is a huge impact. It's a big deal. So just remember, I don't have to say this. This is Mississippi. We are the hospitality state. Throw out the welcome mat. Welcome everybody. Be kind, be nice. No beeping, no one-finger salutes on the road. If somebody who's never been to your town before suddenly cuts you off because they just now realize they got to go left instead of right, show a little grace, because this is a big deal, and we want them to leave with a positive attitude to the point to where they hope they get to come back soon. That's the goal for everyone that lives here. Just wanted to put that out there because that is a big deal. And that's why Sports Talk is going to be there tomorrow. This is a huge deal. You're going to see some kids this weekend on the field in Laurel that you're going to see on the field with the SEC one day down the road here. Might even see them on a big league field one day down the road. So you can kind of get in early, get those autographs early. Imagine if you had gotten Derek Jeter's autograph when he was 11. The penmanship wouldn't have been quite as good, but that's okay. That just makes it authentic, right?
That's right.
Yeah, just trying to help there. There's really nothing in that text I sent you that we can really do on the air. It's just a standard arrest, but it was an end joke. Had to share it with you.
Paul loved a good dumb crook news article.
Oh, yeah.
That was one way to get his attention. He would, hey, Florida man got arrested for doing such and such with an alligator in a Taco Bell parking lot. And he'd be like, oh, yeah, let's do it.
It's
always funny to because I would bring these stories to him, and he, I'd print one off because he always liked me to print off something and bring it to him. I'd print it off and bring it to him, and you'd just see his eyes light up. He'd be like, oh, yes.
Oh, yeah, we're going with this one. Get the bumper ready. Speaking of which, in his honor, Fresno, California, they arrested a man who was naked in the ceiling of a plasma donation center in Fresno and had one of the tiles pulled back so he could peek and watch. They got a call around 7 a.m. Said that there's somebody in the attic here. They searched, didn't find anything. Then they were called back a couple hours later because a patient heard noises and saw eyes looking out at them. They finally went in there and got him, and he was completely buck naked, as they say. He was arrested and taken to the hospital. He apparently also damaged a water main at one point. My question on that is, using what? We may not want the answer to that question, but it's still a question that's going to linger. And they're assuming that there are some mental problems. That maybe he was lonely.
Speaking of weird stories, so just a little inside baseball. We subscribe to these sites, and they'll offer stuff, and it's like a bingo card. I mean, you never really know where the stories are going.
Yes,
you see these headlines, and I look at it every day because it just entertains me. After doing this for so many years, you get accustomed to reading them every day, and I'm always kind of like excited to just. What's weird today? And there's some days where you might not laugh. You go, oh, that's just odd. And there's other days where you go, that's kind of funny. And then there's some days where you go, that's sad, but that's also funny. This is one that caught my eye this morning, Dave. A car dealership in Georgia is under fire because they sold a man a car. Normally, not a problem. Okay,
that's what they do.
That's what they do. All right. Only problem is the man is blind. They sold him a car. They drove him home in the car
because he couldn't drive. I would assume.
He couldn't drive it, obviously. He took a bus to get to the dealership. Now, why he's doing this, I have no idea. We don't get into that. But the man's family's upset with the dealership. They want his money back because he can't drive it.
I've got this mental image now. This is going to be horrible. Let me preface that by saying I'm fully aware how awful this is. I've got this mental image of him doing 60 through the turn lane, hanging his arm out with the cane, tapping the road as fast as he can. Was that the plan? What was the plan there?
I don't know. Maybe he just wanted to own a car.
How
Maybe
hard
wanted that new car smell. They say your senses are enhanced once one goes away.
That's true.
Maybe that's what it was.
That's true. I wonder how hard the salesman celebrated that commission. I got a good one this time, guys.
Well, you quoted George Jones earlier. One of his speaking of motor vehicles, one of his more infamous events ever was when he was married to Tammy Wynette, and she took all the keys because he was obviously a notorious alcoholic. She took all the keys to all the cars they had. I'm assuming they had a whole fleet of them. She took them all and hid them from him, and he couldn't go to the bar. So what did he do? He wrote a song about it later. He hopped on the lawnmower to go to the bar. Well, an Iowa woman got caught driving her lawnmower while drunk going to the liquor store. She was arrested. She rode home while drunk, going home from a liquor store. 36-year-old woman showed up at Casey's liquor store in Tiffin, Iowa, riding a lawnmower. Police called, said she appeared intoxicated. Okay, when you show up to the liquor store on a lawnmower, that's the first indication that something ain't right, okay?
You may have a problem at that point.
Officer said she failed field sobriety tests and slurred speech, bloodshot eyes, poor balance, and was not mowing in a straight line. I added that last one.
Did she have the blade up or down? That's my first question.
You think maybe an enterprising liquor store owner was like, "Hey, while you're here, I'll give you a discount if you go hit the side yard over there and clean it up for me a little bit.
I give you one of these mini shot bottles for free if you go cut some donuts outside in the yard." The easy way to tell what stage of inebriation she was in was whether or not she rode a riding mower or a push mower, because there are levels to this. I think we've all done stupider things than that in our life, though, really.
I mean, I've had a couple beers after mowing the grass, but not usually before mowing the grass.
What about during?
Well, it's so hot, I've thought about it.
Mornings without Richard Cross today, presented by Community Bank, rooted in our community. You can go to communitybank.net to find out more. We continue with your money right after this.
Good morning from the Banner.
What is it? What's going on?
Mornings with Richard Cross.
It is what it is.
Yes, it is.
Super Talk, Mississippi.
Well, half of it's gone, but you still got a big chunk left to shoot for with the Mississippi Lottery. Let me explain. Somebody won that enormous Mega Millions jackpot. I think it was about $800 million. One ticket in Florida won the $800 million. It wasn't California. I know. I was surprised too. It's back down to $50 million now. But great proof, great reinforcement that somebody's got to win these things. Might as well be you. Powerball still growing, though. Currently at $707 million. The cash value on that will be $309.7 if you win it. Okay. You're gonna let me give you $2 and you're gonna give me $309.7 million? Yeah, okay, I'm in. I'm always in. Lotto America is at $2.25 million. Match 5 is at $325,000. That one's due. That one usually doesn't get very large before it is claimed. And $325,000, yeah, kind of in the sweet spot there. So you might want to go ahead and get a ticket for that too. The Millionaire for Life ticket, every day you got a chance to win $1 million. That's why they named it Millionaire for Life. And there's no up and down on that. Every day you got a shot at $1 million. No matter who won, how many won, it's a moot point. You get a chance to win. Had a couple of winners yesterday. Brookhaven woman won $2,500 on Cash Pop. Gulfport man won $1,000 on a scratch off yesterday. A man in Brandon scratch off $5,000 he put in his pocket. $1,000. Of course, on the Powerball, you can get things other than the main jackpot. Someone in Belden won $1 million. That's when you match all 5 of the white balls and you don't get the Powerball. So close, but $1 million is okay for a consolation prize. You can see all this and more. There's a lot more winners from yesterday. You can see those. You can check up on the status of all the various games and what's going on. You can go to mslottery.com or you can download the app. Android, Apple, anywhere you want to go to your app store and download the Mississippi Lottery app. Just remember, you cannot buy your tickets on the app. It's very useful, though. My wife uses it all the time. You can scan your tickets. It'll automatically tell you if it's a winner, because I don't know about you. I'm to the point where I need a new glasses prescription every 6 months. So sometimes the numbers kind of run together and you might miss one. Well, you don't have that problem if you just scan it into the app and check to see how much you won with the Mississippi Lottery. You can do that on the app, or you can just manually check things at mslottery.com to find out more about that and the various games they have and see if you recognize anybody that won. Well, they don't have the names. It's just the stuff. But if there's a winner in your town, you can start asking your friends, right? It's worth a shot. We've talked about it before. Will, what would you do if you won $1 million?
Oh, the fun thing or the boring thing?
Oh, the boring thing, you'd pay off your house and pay your bills. I know that. Okay, well, let's say you won $2 million then, which is entirely possible if you do the power play feature. Let's say you win $2 million. $1 million's going to pay off all of that. The vehicles, the house, you know, that ill-advised loan you took out to get a jet ski, all of that gets paid off. You got $1 million left. What are you doing?
Well, you mentioned jet ski. I think I'll take that one. Jet ski is, I don't know the last time you've been on one, but It's pure awesomeness.
I have never been on a jet ski.
Really? You're missing out, dude.
No, I am not. Let me tell you why. I swim like a cinder block. There's a big kadoosh noise and I vanish. My parents literally put me in swimming lessons with a very skilled instructor back when I was like 10. Got to the end of it where everybody goes off the high dive. That's, the final day. That's what you do. I went kadoosh, went down, and I was standing on the bottom of the pool doing this as hard as I could when they came down to get me. This is a show of either courage or stupidity. I then got up, went around, tried it again. Same thing.
Dave, any device where you have to strap the key to your wrist because you are at any moment going to be thrown 20 feet from the apparatus is worth it. Okay? That is a feature of almost all jet skis is you have to wrap the key around your wrist because you could just go flying.
I really have to sit down later today and Photoshop that old guy with the suspenders that got thrown in the air by the bison out in Yellowstone, except replace him with you and replace the bison with a jet ski, and bam, that's money right there. We're printing money. We've got news from Fox News, SuperTalk Mississippi News, and then former U.S. Congressman Greg Harper joins us. That's right on the other side of the news here on Mornings. Keep it here.
The views and opinions expressed by the hosts, guests, and callers on this show are not the opinions of TeleSouth Communications, its management, or advertisers.
Mornings with Richard Cross.
Wake up.
Yes, do it.
Wake up.
Come on.
All right.
Super Talk Mississippi. Wake up.
Welcome back. Hour number 2 of Mornings here on SuperTalk Mississippi. And Dave Hughes here, happy to be joined by the former 3rd District Congressman from Mississippi, Congressman Greg Harper. Representative, how you doing this morning?
Dave, it's always so much fun to be on with you, and I wish we had a longer segment, but I got a 1.5-year-old grandson that spent the night with us last night. And if I stay longer than the first segment, my wife's going to be in here. The baby will be with me on the second segment. So, but we're doing well. It's good
I
to
would
see
be
you.
fine with that. It would probably be the best segment we've ever done on this show. So, I wouldn't have a problem with it, but I understand. Pawpaw duty is important. Speaking of which, we had a pawpaw that put on a farce of a testimony in a hearing yesterday for the Senate Homeland Security Committee, Dr. Anthony Fauci. Just right off the top level, what's your opinion of what happened yesterday?
Well, first, I'm not sure if you did everything right, Dave. Why did you need a magic pen pardon? And why can't you tell us what happened? Well, it's because if you tell the truth, it's obviously different than what you testified before. And if you tell the same thing, they know you've lied. So, I mean, your testimony is going to be a lie and subject to, lying to Congress, perjury, whereas you're off the hook if you keep your mouth shut. But look, Dave, I've known Dr. Fauci for a long time. He's appeared before committees that I've been on. I've questioned him in the past. And he's everybody's favorite grandpa. I mean, he's so likable and so he had built up such a high level of trust. But what he did to this country and continues to do is criminal. I mean, it's unbelievable what's happened, what we've been through. I mean, you and I experienced, and it's still just hard to believe that we fell for it. But so much of that was he of course, we didn't know he was keeping a diary during all this time, but that's up for another deal. But I'm sure he loved shaving himself every morning, looking in the mirror.
Oh, yeah, well, that's obvious. If you've read any part of the diary that was released, 2 things about that. Rule number one, guys, let me spread this, and I'm sure the congressman will agree with me. If you're going to get up to nefarious stuff, don't keep notes. That should be probably the first rule that you have to follow, right?
Well, but think again, people were doing this. This was not something he ever expected anybody to read. You know that. But at the same time, early on in this, his folks were using personal emails and not using the official, so they were not discoverable on a Freedom of Information Act request. They didn't have to present those. So it is sneaky, and it's disappointing because he did have such great standing. But look, hey, Dave, all you got to do is go to the airport to claim a bag here in Jackson, and we still got the little 6-foot space emblems on the floor. I mean, I'm thinking I may run over there one weekend with my little, well, I can't take in an X-Acto knife or something, but go in there, just start peeling them up, So we've got that. But you think back to what we did and how he lied about hey, you didn't need masks, don't worry about it. You know why he did that? He did that because he wanted to make sure the healthcare workers had what they needed first. And then he kept the herd immunity, which makes the most sense of anything that we look back at. But he kept changing the numbers on that just out of thin air. The 6 feet were out of thin air. And we all know people that lost their jobs when they didn't want to get a shot. And if they did anything for a company, did any work for the federal government, the force of all this, and I think we know this, Dave, we will never subject ourselves to that type of heavy-handedness again. I mean, we just kind of fell for it hook, line, and sinker and bought into his positions on things. And it really, looking back, man, and if you were a scientist who didn't think you ought to have school closures, or the heavy-handedness of the federal government came down on you, and if you were a scientist, you could just say, I'm never going to get another grant if I don't go along or keep quiet. Yes. Wow, what a mess.
Well, let me ask you this question. As someone who has had Dr. Fauci in hearings and talked to him and asked him questions and everything else, and you have a sense of the man, you know the man. The diary that was released, and don't think for a second it was coincidental that just happened to come out right before the hearing. Come on, that was a brilliant move, I think, by Rand Paul, wasn't it?
No doubt. Yeah, usually you don't want to read somebody else's, journal or diary because it's boring. But here, hey, we lived through what he's talking about, Yeah. And it is something else.
Reading through that diary, you get a strong hint of some narcissism at work. Do you think it's a case where once this happened and the first time he was called up to pronounce something, a little switch went off, he just kind of snapped a little bit and said, hey, here's my ticket, let's go?
Look, all I know is I should have known something was wrong in 2018 when he had a walk-up song, but that's another story.
You're not wrong. You are not wrong. And that's he kind of bought into being a celebrity.
He definitely had the celebrity deal, but he had that such high level of trust. But look, and of course, the closeness with communist China, we still may never know all of that. But from here on, I don't call it COVID-19. I call it the Wuhan virus, which is what it should have been called in the first place, and telling us that it came from a bat in a wet market. I mean, and there had been and he had really covered up the concept that we had been funding the Wuhan lab and gain of function research. And this tells you the danger. And look, I know we want to advance things, we want to learn stuff, but some of this stuff we should not be messing with. And we created something that killed millions of people as a result. And we only have one chance to do this, and we did it with let's lock up. We can't go anywhere. hey, our second grandson, who's now 5, we didn't get to see him. We had to look through the window on the hospital room on the first floor to see him hold him up. Looking back, I mean, that's about the dumbest thing I think we've ever had to do. But it impacted everybody's life in whatever shape, form, or fashion it was. And, we still, I just can't believe that we subjected ourselves to what we went through, Dave. It was just unconscionable now. And you think of the kids that miss school, the social ramifications, not just the educational part of it. But I think him changing numbers and pulling them out of thin air on different stuff. And we kind of went with it. And we still don't know. Look, we still don't know all the true side effects of those that were basically forced vaccine, because they had to keep a job, or they thought you were buying information. You were trusting your physician who'd been told this is what we're supposed to do. And we're still given the shot. So
yes,
we should know everything about it now. There shouldn't be anything hidden now.
And that's all yesterday was hiding one question, over 100 questions, and he pled the fifth on every single one of them. But I'll tell you, in my opinion, Greg, where we went wrong, it's a time-honored problem. Those with good intentions are easy prey for those who don't share them. And I think that's what happened. A lot of us were like, well, we got to go along. We got to get through this. That's okay. I understand. Yeah, well, I'll take one on the chin. We got to do this. And the diary, if nothing else, of Dr. Fauci proved that, the whole thing was manipulated from the word go.
Yeah, and look, I like her music, but I really don't care what Barbara Streisand was thinking. That's really not on my list, but it wasn't. We view it as a single deal, this dealing with the Wuhan virus, but it was this. What's our trust level now? What did it do to damage the long-term trust level? And it put everybody in a real pickle, Dave. And so I hope we'll be a lot more stand up when this if it look, you got to think in our world there's going to be another pandemic, and we've got to make sure that we're doing the best we can, and having somebody we actually is going to tell us. Look, just if he had just told us the truth, let us deal with it, and we'd have dealt with it, but we didn't get that.
Former Congressman.
Good morning from the
In the car, at home, or at work, it's always free to listen to SuperTalk Mississippi and Mornings with Richard Cross.
Welcome back. Congressman Harper could only stay with us for one segment because he's got a grandbaby in the house. I understand that. Completely. Grandpawing is important work. It really is. But we appreciate him taking the time to come see us. Thank you very much.
Dave, would you want to play some clips from the Fauci hearing from yesterday?
Well, on the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment of the Constitution.
Dave, when was the last time you had a hair on your head?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment of the Constitution.
Have you ever ripped the tag off a mattress?
Yes.
You're not supposed to do that. You just admitted to something that is
counsel.
That's
Sorry.
illegal.
That's a federal crime.
You can't do that.
Well,
if you read the tag, it says "Do not remove." Okay.
Under penalty of law.
Under penalty of law. All right. This first clip is one actually Lucian and I played yesterday because it happened live while we were on air, which is so much fun when it happens. But it was Fauci's lawyer being ejected.
Yes.
Give this a listen. Here we go.
You're not recognized. You're not recognized. If you are unruly, you will be removed from the proceeding. You are not recognized, and you are not recognized, sir. Sir, you are not recognized. You are not recognized. Security, we'll hold off, but you will respect these proceedings. You were told not to sit at the table. You insist on sitting at the table, and we told you would not be recognized. You are not invited here for testimony, sir. You are being disruptive. Would you behave this way in a courtroom? No, because the judge would put you in jail. I can't do that today, but I can have you escorted from the premises. So I would say, sir, sit quietly and don't say another word. I said sit quietly. You are not recognized. Another word and you're gone.
So, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to hear what the attorney has to say.
He is not recognized by the committee or the chair. If he speaks again, he will be removed from the room. This testimony is from Anthony Fauci. This is not a game with his lawyers. He can advise. His lawyers can give him advice. He's got a half dozen here. They're all allowed to talk to him.
Yes.
All right? But the attorneys are not recognized. In fact, the attorney was told not to sit at the table, and he's not obeying that recommendation. There's a row behind you, sir. That's where you were told to sit, and you're not. And now you're disrupting the proceedings. And so, look, this is the way Anthony Fauci wants to be remembered. For a lawyer not listening to the rules. That's the way you want to be remembered, and that's what you're going to do. You are not recognized, sir. Security, please remove him from the room.
Yeah, and that's they pretty much just removed him.
You know, the smug expression on this guy's face, number one. Number two, you know who that is, don't you? I can't think of his name off the top of my head, but he is a high-powered criminal defense attorney, basically.
He represented former Senator Bob Menendez in New Jersey.
The one who had gold bars shoved in the shoes in his closet.
Yes, from Egypt.
Yes.
So that was a great clip. This is my favorite one, though. This is
this Hawley?
This is Senator Josh Hawley.
Yes.
He's Missouri, correct?
Yeah.
Here we go.
You know what I can't quite figure out is that why you were so obsessed with it, because you're already rich. I mean, and your scheme worked here.
Played the wrong one. Here we go.
Well, nothing says honesty like taking the fifth, huh, Doc? Let's try something. What day of the week is it today?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
What color tie are you wearing?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
What color's the carpet in front of you?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
Let's just get one thing straight. You don't have any rights under the Fifth Amendment because you've been pardoned, as you very well know. As the Supreme Court has been clear for a century and more, Brown versus Walker, 1896, when he has been pardoned, he may not stand upon his privilege. You know that. Your lawyers sitting behind you now shifting nervously in their chairs. They know it. This isn't about the Constitution. This isn't about the law. This is about contempt. Contempt for this body and contempt for the American people. But I think I know why you're doing it. It's because you don't want to answer questions. It's because you did all kinds of terrible things. It's because during the pandemic you got rich, didn't you? You got rich while people were dying, hundreds of thousands of Americans, over 1 million in the end, and you were getting rich. And not only were you doing that, you were using federal employees with taxpayer money to apply for and solicit cash prizes for you personally. Cash prizes totaling over $1 million. You did all of that during the pandemic, didn't you? That's a question.
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer.
Well, you know where it's going.
Yeah, that's where everything went. Over 100 times he said that. I would like to point out, by the way, for those that aren't familiar, Josh Hawley, before he entered Congress, he was the state attorney general in Missouri. He is familiar with legal shenanigans and games. But he also did his homework, and he was very right. Brown versus Walker back in, I think it was 1856, in the mid-1800s, ruled that once you have been pardoned, you can no longer claim your Fifth Amendment rights under testimony.
Yeah, that was a big bone of contention yesterday, and you had the talking heads going back and forth and legal eagles saying, yes, no, maybe, and it kind of depended on their political persuasion. One of the more interesting pieces of Josh Hawley's questioning was about Fauci's dealings with his staff, and he kind of lays out the case for Fauci was basically using his staff to apply for awards that he would get paid for. So it'd be like if I sent you an email, Dave, and I said, hey, Dave, I'm up for this award. I need you to write something for me talking about how great I am, because obviously I'm great, and then get some other people in the office to do the same thing, and I'm going to apply for this, and I get paid from it if I win. So I need you to do a good job of it. Now, imagine doing that. Your boss wouldn't be happy. Now, their boss happens to be the federal government. So this is what Josh Hawley lays out kind of in this next clip.
You know what I can't quite figure out is that why you were so obsessed with it, because you're already rich. I mean, and your scheme worked here. I mean, your net worth now is north of $12 million. You got over $1 million in cash awards during COVID, during a 12-month, 24-month span during COVID. $1 million you knocked down in cash money using federal resources. Now you're worth more than $12 million. You've got a pension that in its first year paid out north of $400,000 a year. 1 million people dead, you're getting rich. 1 million people dead, you're using federal employees to get cash awards for you. 1 million people dead, and you're here taking the fifth because you don't want to admit that what really happened in all that time was a multi-month, multi-year course of self-dealing. Isn't that true, Dr. Fauci?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
Yeah, well, silence is admission. And here's the real thing. At the end of the day, it wasn't just about the money, really, was it? It was really about a power trip. I mean, through all of this, you want to be the most famous scientist in the world. You were so focused on getting every award and every drop of cash that you could, all because you wanted to be on TV. You wanted to be the sun god of science. You wanted to be the guy who was in charge of it all. You wanted to lambast Trump. You wanted to make sure that nobody else stole your spotlight. You wanted to be the guy. You had time to sit for InStyle magazine. Here's what you were doing with your time. You could sit for InStyle magazine, but you can't answer questions for the American people. You could sit for InStyle magazine, but you're here taking the fifth. You could sit for InStyle magazine and get $1 million in cash awards. But now the cat's got your tongue. I bet he does. I tell you what, here's my conclusion from all of this. This was really all about you the whole time. Somewhere along the way, you lost your way. You may have been a good public servant at one time. I don't know. But what I can tell you from reading your emails now, from looking at what you did, how you used your employees, somewhere along the line, it became all about you. You became a narcissist and a megalomaniac and a liar. And you've lied to the American people, and you've lied to this body. And you've disgraced your profession by doing it. You called yourself the most famous scientist in the world. You've done more to harm science than anybody in my lifetime. And I hope you'll go home and write that in your diary.
Listen and stay social during the show at SuperTalk Mississippi on Facebook. Mornings with Richard Cross on SuperTalk Mississippi and the SuperTalk app.
I'll be the roundabout. The words will make
Welcome back. Super Talk Mississippi mornings on this Thursday morning, presented by Community Bank. Have you ever noticed sometimes you walk in a place and they still know your name? You walk in and you're greeted by name. That's become a little more rare these days. Well, at Community Bank, that's just how it works. They're a bank that knows the community because, well, they live there. When you walk in, you're more than just an account number. No matter what you need from your bank, you'll talk to real people who care about your goals and will take care of you as a person. Community Bank, a local bank built on relationships. You can stop by your neighborhood location, or you can find out more at communitybank.net. For more information, just head right on over there. To be honest, there were so many great clips from the Fauci thing yesterday that we could spend the entire rest of the show playing them. We're not going to do that. There was one point where Rand Paul, who is the committee chairman, told him there was a red folder on the table in front of him. And inside of it was the documentation showing that once you have a pardon, you can't plead the fifth. And he asked him, do you see that folder on the table? And Fauci pled the fifth. And Rand Paul came back and said, well, let the record show that Dr. Fauci pled the fifth on whether or not there's a red folder on the table in front of him. It reached a ridiculous level of farce, and we're kind of there in a lot of different ways. And I'm going to compare this to something totally off the subject that's going on right now in the capital city in Jackson that I found fascinating yesterday while I was looking at this. I don't know if you've heard about down on McDowell Road at the intersection of McDowell and Robinson, they closed a Burger King, boarded it up. Well, there were people explaining, I can't believe, why would you close this? This is, there wasn't an exact direct reference to a food desert, but comments leaning in that direction from some folks about it. The same day, we had a news story about somebody being found dead at a service station on McDowell Road. Now, we've had a lot of businesses closed there, and that's because, well, they kept getting shot up. And I feel like there is a major disconnect, just like with the whole Fauci situation. There is a major disconnect between problems and self-created problems. What Fauci is going through right now, obviously, was a self-created problem. You can't complain that there are no restaurants in your neighborhood when they all closed because, well, people kept getting killed in them. And the building kept getting shot up. I think, Will, did they finally, I think they bulldozed the old Waffle House, didn't they?
I don't know.
That was right there next to the interstate, right when you got off. And it went for the longest time. The windows were boarded up. They were still open because all the glass had been shot out. There comes a time when you have to admit that there are consequences to what happens. Now, the problem that we run into here is that we expect this to be fixed for free. Let me explain. Brad McCulloch, Hinds County District Attorney, the new one, is asking for more funding because the Hinds County Detention Center is past full, and he wants funding to hire at least one more assistant DA to try to get these people through the system. Because there is a capacity for jails, there's a capacity for the court system, there's a capacity for prosecution, and if you want more of that to be done, it's going to cost you money. We had a thing down here in southwest Mississippi where everybody was complaining we need to, you know, the general cry of lock them up. We got to lock everybody up. Lock them up. Well, the question then became, and put them where? So there was a proposal to issue some bonds and raise some funding to build a new jail. Oh, no, well, we can't do that. Don't want my taxes to go up. you can't have your cake and eat it too. If you're going to complain about the problems, that's fine. That's the American way. That is definitely your right. But expecting somebody else to fix your problems for you, yeah, it's kind of a slippery slope. And we wind up in a bad place.
Yeah, you got to pay for it somehow. But I will say this about Jackson crime. It's still incredibly high, but it is down.
Yes, it's improving.
Compared to especially 2020, 2021, 2022.
Oh, man.
That was kind of at the peak, and it is because of a lot of moves. You've had the Capitol Police. You've had, I think, increased enforcement. You've had more national attention, more statewide attention on it. I think that has made a positive impact. And now you have a mayor who seems like he is willing to work to make a difference versus the previous administration, which is under federal indictment or pleading guilty?
Yes.
I don't know where they are and all that. But
Jody Owens has been permanently disbarred.
He was permanently disbarred, and I think the rest of them have pled guilty, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So,
I
mean, that kind of tells you where that city was and where it is now. So it's not perfect. It never will be, but it is getting better.
Well, and you're exactly right, and it's a fantastic thing to see, and we need to see more of that. We need to continue down that path. There are several things here, though. One of the big ones to me is, and I think Jackson is a great indicator of that, stop voting stupid. I'm sorry, you get what you vote for. You get what you ask for. You get what you pay for. If you want more people in jail and the jail is full, somebody's got to pay to build the new jail. And if you don't want it to be you, shut up. You can't stack them like cordwood. So what's your plan? What's your bright idea? We have a very clear problem with everybody wanting to complain about everything but offer no solutions, offer no potential remedies for the problems. Fauci, of course, did the exact opposite of that. He saw a problem, which was a minor problem. In his diary, he confessed, he wrote, while the COVID pandemic was going on and it was a big deal, he sat down in print that the fatality rate wasn't 2%, it was more like 0.2%. We didn't hear that, did we? So there is a difference between not helping the problem and creating the problem out of whole cloth for self-enrichment, which is kind of the hint that we're getting from all of this that's coming out about him.
The other thing that made me so angry about all these diary revelations is the fact that, and this just irks me to no end, is he's going to dinner parties with Jake Tapper of CNN and others, while at the same time going, hey, you can't go to church.
Yes.
Can't go to a restaurant.
Can't go to a funeral.
Can't go to a funeral.
Now, a protest with a few thousand people, elbow to elbow, that's fine. That's perfectly allowable. That's reasonable. That was the first sign, I think, for a lot of people that, wait a minute, this is all horse hockey, isn't it?
So I went back and looked that up. So apparently what happened, the CDC never recommended protesting. This is in the wake of the George Floyd protest.
Yeah.
What happened was there was about 1,000 very highly respected health professionals who said systemic racism is as big a threat as coronavirus ever thought about being, and so therefore it's fine to go out and protest. It's worth the risk, basically. I mean, I think that was one of the indications. It was like,
we're literally just making this up, and we're not making it up for our own good.
Somebody pointed out on the C Spire text line, they said, it's hard to fight back against a mandate. And that's true.
Yes.
I mean, you got to remember, a lot of this stuff was mandated. You had to do this.
Yes.
You would get, and in the hearing yesterday, they used some examples, and I think there were some of those people actually in the crowd at the hearing who got arrested for doing this. One of the senators, I can't remember which one it was, gave an example of a husband and wife who went to go watch their kid play softball or baseball or something, and they sat in the stands by themselves, and they didn't have a mask on, and a security guard or cop or somebody basically arrested them because they didn't have their mask on and they were sitting by themselves. You know, it's like those little, you know, when that starts happening and you can't go gather at a church, and then you read these diaries where they're going to dinner parties together.
Yeah.
Having a good old
grand
time.
old time. Yeah.
Great. I think he said something like great networking, great friendship building we had. Wait a minute. That's the stuff that gets me so irked.
Rules for thee and not for me. We keep using that expression because it keeps being proven true. We'll wrap up the 7 o'clock hour right after this on Mornings here on Super Talk Mississippi.
Good morning from the
News, interviews, weather, sports, all right here, all morning long. Mornings with Richard Cross on Super Talk Mississippi.
Welcome back. Mornings on Super Talk Mississippi. Dave Hughes here. You know, sports talk we got hopping. We told you earlier this morning they're going to be in Laurel tomorrow at the Laurel Sportsplex for the Diamond Youth Baseball World Series with teams from 11 states. Well, next Tuesday they're going to be out on the road. It's time for the Not Fall Camp Tour. First date is next week. They'll be at Sully's in Hattiesburg. Have a lot of giveaways presented by Pearl River Resort. So if you're in the Hattiesburg area and you're excited about Golden Eagle football being very close to kicking off, and if you're in Hattiesburg and you're not, what's wrong with you? Seek professional help immediately. The guys at Sports Talk will get you there. So be listening and stop by and see them at Sully's. It's going to be a great time, just like it always is when the guys show up somewhere. You know, we talk about it, and Will, yeah, you know this. You kind of have a little bit of a grumble session when you're going on the road somewhere. Just very briefly, like, oh, I got to go somewhere again. But in reality, that's the most fun you can have in this job, is to just go somewhere.
Yeah, getting out, seeing the people.
Yeah, seeing the people, having a good time, seeing something new, doing something new. It's a lot of fun, and the Sports Talk guys really enjoy it. They really do, and you can tell. And you talk to them off the air, yes, they enjoy it very much. Except when Hey Dad can't find Coke Zero, but that's a personal problem.
He told me, he said, I can't find Coke anywhere in Florida, and I said, let's rephrase that, buddy.
Hey Dad is not
use Coke Zero less.
He's not a distance runner, I'll put it like that. He couldn't find any Coke within about 200 feet of the hotel in Tampa. That was the truth of the situation. I think he had to walk across or down the block, across the street, something to find something.
Yeah, he had to go to like a grocery store downtown somewhere. And he told me, he said if he didn't do the Greg Sankey interview, he said if he did, his first question is not about realignment or NIL or transfer portal or Congress. He says his first order of business is to say, the next time you schedule one of these, be at a place where I can get a Coke Zero.
The man likes what he likes.
Thing.
Yes, that is the most important issue in front of the SEC right now. Don't believe it? Ask Hey Dad. He'll tell you. He'll back me up on that. That is the big deal, and we've got to take care of that, right? By the way, one final little serious note here. A couple of senators, Sanders and Grassley, fine examples of legislative prowess, have decided that they want to fine the Pentagon if they don't pass an audit. If they don't get a completed audit and they pass it, it's all legally sound. Trivia question for you, Will. When's the last time the Pentagon passed an audit?
I have no clue.
The answer is never. It has never in the history passed an audit. And in fact, the first time they tried to audit it was in 2018. Before that, nobody paid attention. It's like, well, here's some more 20s. Here's a band of Benjamins. Go buy a plane. They had never audited it. The first audit, 2018, they failed it. The most recent audit, December. That was the 8th time they have tried to audit it, and they failed that one too. So they're literally they're saying they're going to fine the Pentagon if they don't do something that has never been done, ever. Now, I'm not even making a commentary on whether or not that's right or wrong, because I get it. I've seen things saying, well, it's very complex and there's a lot of moving parts and a lot of money goes through. Well, yeah, but you got to have some accounting. But they have all the black projects and all the things that are on the books, but not really. Some things that aren't on the books at all. So it's going to be impossible for them to pass an audit. So this is Grassley and Sanders doing what they do, which is stump around and scream in front of a camera so they look smart.
I meant, what do? You send a couple accountants in there and put them in a room and they just start going through everything? I don't know how you would. It seems like a monumental task.
I could.
It's one of the biggest buildings and one of the biggest departments. Because you say the Pentagon, but actually what you mean is the Department of Defense, War Department, whatever they call it now.
Yeah, and that's the biggest part of our budget every year.
Yeah.
We spend more money on that than anything else. Where's it going? Well, yeah, over there.
But at the same time, you don't have any missiles.
Yes. Priorities. You got to have priorities. They're keeping the Pizza Hut hopping next to the Pentagon, so everything's fine. This hour of mornings brought to you by MWG Employer Services. Call 601-206-7966 or go to MWGEmployerServices.com.
As the sun rises, he has all the news you need. Mornings with Richard Cross on SuperTalk Mississippi, supertalk.fm, and the SuperTalk app.
Welcome back. Third and final hour of mornings on this Thursday here on SuperTalk Mississippi. The last hour brought to you by MWG Employer Services. The show, of course, presented by Community Bank. You can go to communitybank.net to find out more. Coming up at the bottom of the hour, we're going to be joined by Jill Hendon. She's the director of the USM Center for Fisheries Research and Development. Why? It's Shark Week. And if you want to know about sharks, you go to USM. I went to USM, so I can say that. That, by the way, in case you've missed it when I've talked about it before, that's why I don't get too deep into the whole Ole Miss Mississippi State rivalry. I'm a Golden Eagle, so, yeah. It's amazing how sometimes you can say that and people go, yeah. It's like, I will stomp your foot. You will have a sore toe. Don't mess with me. Well, I don't know if have you ever read the Babylon Bee?
Oh yeah, we interviewed. I believe his name is Kyle Mann. He's one of the founders of the Babylon Bee. He was in Mississippi for something. I don't remember what exactly. Probably about a year or two ago. But it's one of those social media account website that has changed the world because it was them, that Babylon Bee suspension from Twitter, at the time called Twitter, that spurred Elon Musk to buy the thing.
Yes. And I cannot recommend it enough. It's babylonbee.com. And it is a very right-leaning satire publication. Think The Onion, but on the right side of the argument. They have one right now. Their lead story is a picture of Fauci at the thing yesterday at the hearing, and the headline just says, "Science pleads the fifth." Yeah. Follow the science right into keeping your mouth shut. They also have a list of 8 questions husbands should always plead the fifth to. If I die first, how long until you remarry? Plead the fifth. Am I becoming like my mother? Plead the fifth. Are you sad you married me and not my sister? Fifth, plead the fifth. They got a whole list of them, but it's that kind of stuff, and I just wanted to pass along a quick recommendation. You will thoroughly enjoy it if you go there. Don't do a lot of recommendations for sites like that, but they earn it.
Why did you order me the extra lettuce on my Taco Bell Crunchwrap Supreme?
Plead the fifth. Plead the fifth and don't block the bathroom door. Speaking of that, best video I've seen in a while was somebody who posted a video and it just said, "Guess what won't give you explosive diarrhea like lettuce?" And they just slowly slide a box of Little Debbie's Christmas tree cakes over into view on the thing. Yeah, exactly right. It would be a service to humanity and to America if you just go ahead and put those back on the shelves now. It'd be fine. Nobody is going to argue about that. Have you heard about this story out of Baton Rouge with the fake record label?
No.
This is crazy. This is absolutely insane. Okay. Let me see how I can explain this. 2 guys, Calvin Kemp, 60 years old, from Gonzales, Chavez Robayar, 33, out of Baton Rouge.
All right.
Well, Kemp, the 60-year-old, formed an LLC, formed it as a music label, went and talked to people to sign them to his music label, and instead what he did, well, he called insurance companies and said he was the owner of a music label and he needed to take out life insurance on his artists, used their information without their knowledge, got life insurance policies, and then had at least one of them killed so he could collect the check. What? How do you even come up with that as an idea?
Wait a minute. You're saying somebody in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, messed over somebody for monetary
Lane Kiffin,
gain?
But I'm talking about these guys with the other thing.
Dave Hughes, I find it just impossible to believe that someone from Baton Rouge would ever take advantage for monetary gain.
You are correct. It is.
It's
mind-boggling.
That does not
isn't
sound like the good people of Baton Rouge, Louisiana.
Both of them. The younger one, the 33-year-old, was listed as the sole beneficiary on all of the policies. They took out 9 total policies on people. And apparently, and they've been found guilty. Jury found them guilty, so we're not talking about accusations or allegedly or any of that here. They were found guilty by a jury of their peers of doing this. They apparently, as the details came out in the case, Kemp, when he was calling to set up these policies, was asking questions like, "Now, does this still pay off if they get shot?" I mean, seriously. And of course, that all came out during the trial.
You think the insurance agent's like, wait, what?
You wanted to take out a life insurance policy for a non-family member, and you want to know if we're still going to send you a check if they get shot and killed. Yeah. Hold on, let me put you through to a supervisor. Hold on. That's got to be the way the conversation goes, right?
I need to speak with a manager, please. We got a question here.
Dakari Smith, an aspiring artist. He was murdered in Baton Rouge in December of 2022. and it was like $1 million policy they had on him. But when you reach the point when you're asking the clarifying questions to the insurance company, well, what about if it's a jet ski accident? How about come on?
If he was to die of antifreeze poisoning, is that covered?
If he accidentally beats himself to death with a baseball bat, is that covered? You reach a certain point where you prove you're not nearly as smart as you think you are. But again, who comes up with this idea? Wouldn't it be easier and simpler to just rob a bank?
Or a children's hospital, whatever they do there in Baton Rouge.
Anything. No, that's what the elected officials do. That's a totally different thing. It's more above board. Of course, we laugh, we joke about that. Louisiana has long been known. They just, I think it was U.S. News, just did a ranking of all 50 states, and Louisiana was dead bottom. The comments on the story, almost to a one, mentioned, well, yeah, we're the most corrupt state in America, of course. Just remember, Edwin Edwards got elected governor for like the third or fourth time with bumper stickers that said, vote for the crook. People went, yeah, that's my governor right there. So that's the atmosphere in Louisiana.
That's wild. $4 million?
$4.5 million, 9 total policies, life and accidental death insurance policies. The victims didn't know there were life insurance policies on them. He got their personal information by saying, hey, I'm going to sign you to my record thing. We're going to give you a record deal. We're going to get you out there. And they, very, very happily signed over all of their information to him. And then he turned around and called the insurance agent and said, what if a shark bites him? Can I still get a check?
Very smart.
Yeah. On the surface, it looks like a brilliant idea. However, Kemp is now facing 26 years in federal prison. The other one, 24 years in federal prison.
So, speaking of insurance crimes, I've listened to a
That's a phrase I've never heard, but go ahead.
Yeah. While we're on the subject of fraud, I listened to this podcast recently about Nub City, Florida. Have you ever heard of Nub City, Florida?
No.
It's actually not called Nub City, Florida. The actual name is Vernon, Florida. But insurance people call it Nub City because there is a long history of people taking out insurance policies on themselves, and then all of a sudden, suddenly losing a limb, a leg, an arm, etc., fingers, toes, and then claiming insurance on it. I kid you not. Look it up, Nub City.
That's a rabbit hole I'm going down, definitely.
There's actually a documentary made about it. I watched it many, many years ago, and I just so happened to be scrolling through my podcast, and I saw this, and I said, I got to listen to it, and I listened to it again. Nub City, Florida.
So what you're telling me is there's something weird going on in Vernon, Florida, but no one can put their finger on it.
It's got there's video of these. A lot of people with just missing arms and limbs.
Humans are weird. And I'm being charitable when I say weird. I had other words I could have used.
From the Venable Glass.
Before you grab your keys, you've got the news that matters. Back to Mornings with Richard Cross on SuperTalk Mississippi and the SuperTalk app.
mornings on SuperTalk Mississippi. Apparently, the copper thieves now have a telemarketing arm. I just got a spam call from something, and the caller ID just said copper sales. Yeah, okay. It did. What are you going to do? You know, you got all this stuff. You got to unload it somewhere, right? Let's just start cold calling. That'll work. Want to mention, if you're an outdoorsman, a collector, a hunter, a fisherman, you just like to find cool stuff at a good price. Well, we got the event for you. It's a special online event auction. Y&L Auction has gathered all of the items from Paul's Mart in the Delta. They cool stuff at Paul's Mart for a long time. And now it's up for an online-only auction. You don't have to show up. You don't have to get your paddle. You can do it from the comfort of your home. Vintage fishing and hunting gear, outdoor clothes, archery equipment, muzzle loaders. My dad had a muzzle loader. You know why he had a muzzle loader? Because he wanted a muzzle loader. He also had an exact replica of the gun that Tom Selleck used in Quigley Down Under. I'm not even joking. Thing kicks like a Missouri mule. We went out to the range and tried it a couple of times.
It's, two things I didn't have on my bingo card today. Let's see, Quigley's Down Under. And
Quigley Down Under, yeah.
Missouri mule.
Yes, that's the worst kicking mule. Ask anyone. Anyway, got jewelry, shoes, cutlery, signs, lunch boxes, got toys, a little bit of everything. The bidding is going on right now, goes through August 3rd, which is Monday, so you've got all weekend. Go to Y&L Auction, and is spelled out, not the and sign, yandlauction.com, and you can check out what they've got, and if you see something and go, I always wanted a Quigley Down Under gun, well, you can place your bid. I think that may still be at my mom's house. It's entirely possible. He got it because he thought it was cool, and he didn't have anything like that. That was my dad.
That's a good movie, by the way.
Yeah, it was a good movie. But, you know, that was the thing about Quigley. He could make with that enormous iron-sighted long gun, he could make he could shoot a dime from 2 miles away.
Remember, he was shooting two guys at once at one point in that movie.
Yes. And my dad got it because my dad was the kind of thing, you know, I've talked about it before. He was with the Mississippi Highway Patrol for years and years and years, and then retired from there and went on to be the police chief in Macomb. But he was also an enormous firearms guy, big shooter. As a matter of fact, I don't know, I haven't been to the new headquarters yet, but at the old headquarters, they had a trophy section down on the first floor where the Highway Patrol pistol team won the national championship like 7-8 years in a row. My dad was part of that team every year. He's all over the trophy section. He also won the world championship one year, the Bianchi Cup. We were at the range one day, and we were back, I think, like 25 yards. And we're setting up. We had just hung a fresh target. We were working on some things, and I'm standing there getting my gun ready. And he says, "Hey, you see that fly?" And I said, "Where?" He said, "On the target." I turn around. I'm squinting. I have Mr. Magoo eyes. I can't see. I can barely see the target at that point. And I said, "No." And he said, "Bang, go look." Upper left-hand corner of the target, there was one shot, brand new target, one shot with a smear of fly guts coming out of it at about 10 o'clock. And I just turned around and looked at him, and he just went, and then just turned back to what he was doing. That's, you know, it was, I tell people that story, and if they didn't know him, they go, "Oh, you're making that up." The ones that know him go, yeah, that's how he was. So when he saw somebody in a movie shooting people from 2 miles away and shooting two guys at once, his initial reaction was, "Oh, I got to get that gun. I got to have one of those." And he did. Had no intention of talking about Quigley Down Under this morning, but here we are. You're welcome, or I'm sorry. Whichever is appropriate, pick the one that best suits you.
That's a good, it used to be on cable all the time. They would show it nonstop.
I haven't seen it pop up in a while.
It's been a long time, but Alan Rickman is the bad guy. He was the bad guy in Die Hard. He was the bad guy in the Harry Potter movies. A lot of people will know that. And then he was the sheriff of Nottingham, or the bad guy, whatever it was, the bad guy in Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves.
Yes.
Where he was awesome.
Well, he was always an awesome bad guy.
And that was his first movie.
You couldn't tell.
It was either that or Die Hard was his first movie he ever did was like just an awesome bad guy, and he always played an awesome bad guy.
Yeah. Well, he's good that way. He was good that way. He's no longer with us, of course. Have you heard? I hate to dip into a serious subject, but we're about to talk about sharks. Have you heard about the candidate? I want to get your take on this. You and everyone else. There is a candidate for governor of Tennessee, our lovely state to the north of us. He's a state representative, Monty Fritz. Candidate for governor. In an interview, he said that he would like to ban all pagan religions in the state.
All right.
It sounds great on the face of it, but how do you reconcile that with the Constitution that guarantees freedom of religion?
I think you can.
I don't see how that fits. You can have your wish list all you want. You can talk about you don't want them around all you want, but when a candidate for governor says, I want to ban these, that's a bridge too far to me. Like them, don't like them. It's immaterial. We literally have the freedom of religion to worship as you please. That was the founders' intention. They didn't, put any wiggle room in that when they put it in the Constitution.
Okay, so this guy's name is
Monty Fritz.
Okay, for anybody named Monty Fritz.
Yes.
Your one job is either game show host or comedian. Okay, you can't be a representative. You can't be an elected official. I can't take anybody named Monty seriously.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree
if I
with
walk
that.
in and my doctor's named Monty, I'm gonna get another.
You're picking door number one and leaving.
Sorry, Monty.
Governor Monty.
No offense to anybody named Monty out there. I didn't know that was a popular name. I thought only British comedians from the 1950s were named Monty.
You're going to hear from the Monty Anti-Defamation League now. There's going to be a strongly worded email sent to the wrong address, and then they'll forward it to you. But yeah, he wants to ban Islam, which is a big talking point right now, wants to ban Buddhism, wants to ban Hinduism, went so far as to basically insinuate all non-Christian religions should be banned.
So his argument is that, yes, at the federal level, you can't do that. But at the state level...
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure the way everything is set up with the Supremacy Clause, a state can't pass a law that violates federal law. It's kind of like in the state of Mississippi. If you have a town, a city, whatever, that wants to pass a law joining in with something the state already has as illegal, they want to pass it as illegal in their jurisdiction. You can't give it a higher penalty. You can't make it a more serious crime than the state does. The state's kind of the final word on that.
Yeah.
You can't go against the higher authority legally. That's fairly well established for the most part. So I'm not sure how he thinks he's going to pull that off, number one. If you have no clear idea how that's going to work, you're just talking for the cameras and trying to rile up people over something that you know you're not going to be able to do. Admittedly, that's apparently the heart of campaigning in the 21st century, but let's dial that back just a little bit and talk about the things we can do. Hey, I got potholes on my road. Well, yeah, but have you seen those Buddhists? No. Let's focus. Let's focus on what we can actually do.
So he's running for governor against Mississippi native Senator Marsha Blackburn.
Yes. Well, personal opinion, I've talked to Marcia several times. We got a clear front runner now, at least, so that's nice. When we come back, do we have the Jaws theme? Jill Hendon's up next. Might be appropriate. We'll talk to her about sharks when we come back on Mornings. Keep it here.
Listen. The coffee is hot, but the truth is even hotter. It's hot news. Mornings with Richard Cross. Yeah, it's hot news. On Super Talk Mississippi.
Appropriate.
Welcome back. Mornings. We got to play, we got to set the mood properly. Jill, the director of the USM Center for Fisheries Research and Development, Jill Hendon, joins us now. How are you this morning, Jill?
Doing well, Dave. Thank you so much for having me on.
Oh, definitely. And I want to start with a question because sharks are a big deal every year. We have Shark Week. We have all this attention on them. We had Jaws, which we just heard the theme to. Why do you think there's such a fascination with sharks when, you got the octopus right there, which is a million times more fascinating to me? Why so much focus on sharks?
For some reason, fear has this way of connecting with people internally and really turning that fear into fascination and wanting to basically understand where that fear is coming from and if it's logical.
So they want to know what's about to eat them, is what you're saying.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. Now, the interesting thing, and I saw a stat a week or two ago that has stuck with me. More people die by vending machine than by shark every year.
That is absolutely true. You put your money in and your food doesn't come down and you're shaking the heck out of that thing. Yeah.
Yes.
And it falls on you. Yeah. It's like 65 people a year die by vending machines. So why is that not more scary?
Why don't we have vending machine week?
That's
got taken out by the Funyuns isn't a good headline, I guess. But it is a big deal, and it is a fascination with a lot of people. My wife is from Grand Isle. We went down there before we got married, and we're just hanging out, and we're standing there, and there's a bunch of people fishing on the dock, and one of them reels up. It's very obviously a shark. It's a smaller shark, but they accidentally hooked a shark somehow, and they're reeling it up. It's got the dorsal fin. It's a shark. And I said, that guy caught a shark. Dead straight face. She said, oh, we don't have sharks here. I said, I'm looking at one. She said, will you keep your voice down? There are no sharks.
Yeah.
On Grand Isle. We don't have any sharks here. What's wrong? I said, I'm looking at it. He's fighting it. It's jerking around on the line. She said, no, that's a tuna.
Well, don't tell her, but we have them all along the coast. We have them here in Mississippi, all in the Mississippi Sound. They're a big part of the ecosystem, so keep it on the down low for her, but they are everywhere.
I got a question for you. You might not have a ready answer to. What's the biggest shark we know of that has been seen, just a rough estimate, along the Mississippi Gulf Coast?
So we have been running a survey of shark species in the Mississippi Sound for well over 20 years now. And we routinely will find 7, 8 foot, sometimes up to 9 foot, tiger sharks, great hammerheads, scalloped hammerheads. And it's really interesting because by far, all of these species are still juvenile. So you might be seeing a 7 foot shark, but it's still a juvenile because the adults go way far offshore.
Hold on.
Just south of our islands, however, we do get some bigger stuff like makos.
Hold on. I went down to my to-do list for my next trip to the coast. Where is it? Eat, picnic, swimming. Yeah, let me cross that off. Now, makos, you say they might be bigger. How big is that, are we talking?
They can definitely get, up in the teens, 13, 15, somewhere in there.
Now, the one question everybody has, and this goes back to what you were talking about, it's the fear and understanding it. Let's say you're in the water and a friendly shark comes up. You're just minding your business, looking like lunch, and a shark comes swimming up. What do you do?
Well, definitely, if it's coming up to you, you can definitely bop it on the nose, bop it around the eyes. Those are the kinds of things that you want to do to get it to redirect and move away from you. But just having that scenario is very, very rare. We go swimming, my kids and I, my husband, we go swimming all of the time. And our rule of thumb is don't swim by people who are fishing. Don't swim by people who have weighed, a stringer off their back from fishing. Don't keep bait in your pockets. And you know what? You're probably never going to encounter one.
Yeah, and that's kind of the case. I personally don't think I know anyone, not that they've told me, that has ever encountered a shark. So it's one of those things kind of like, I'm Gen X. When I was a kid, I firmly believe by now I would have been stuck in quicksand about 5 times and been on fire at least 3. And it never happened. Sharks are kind of in that category. Everybody talks about it, everybody fears it, but it's not very common, is it?
Absolutely not very common. And when we look at the shark attack files that are maintained off of Florida and specifically look at the Mississippi coast, the only quote unquote provoked attacks that resulted in death were in the early 1800s or the late 1800s and the early 1900s. So not even any time within, our lifetimes or generations. And so a lot of that fear is just what we're saying, irrational.
We're afraid of what we think could happen, not what might happen. I think that's a fair way to put it. Well, let me ask you this. What is, and it's going to be tough to choose, I'm sure, what would you say is the most interesting fact about sharks you know?
So one of the facts, I teach a shark class at the University of Southern Mississippi for undergraduates, and one of the facts that I find most students really react to is they don't realize that sharks actually have the ability to evert their stomachs out of their mouth. So if they eat something that's not digestible, they don't just vomit. Their entire stomach lining everts itself out. The stomach lining comes out of the mouth, shakes all that food content it can't digest out, and then slips back in. Very interesting how it never gets caught on those teeth.
Hey, who designed that, number one?
It's crazy.
That is insane, and I did not know that. So it basically throws up its own stomach.
That's right. Whole stomach comes out of the mouth and then slips back in, and it's quick. It's in a matter of less than a second.
What did the first person to see that happening think? You have to wonder.
Truly. They had to have a video camera they could slow down, though, because it's so quick, it's hard to visualize just with the naked eye.
Someone who studies these things and who teaches it, does it help or hurt that we have things like Shark Week that call so much attention to sharks and keep the spotlight focused on them like this? What's your opinion? Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
Yeah, that's a tough question for me because I am Gen X as well. So I came up when Shark Week was kind of first starting, and Shark Week was really rooted in good scientific data and really trying to present facts and show the role that these animals play in our ecosystem. And over time, because people love the fear of things and love that fear factor, a lot of the shows have kind of taken a shift to really draw in viewers with that fear factor. And so we get a lot of sensationalization that happens. And I think that needs to be balanced back out with the facts, because when you start promoting that and putting more of that out there, you're sending the wrong message, and people may be walking away with a lot of facts about attacks and less facts about the critical role that they play in our waters.
Because they are important. We have to have them out there, don't we?
Absolutely.
But we don't want to. It's hard to remember that when you turn on the Discovery Channel and tonight's offering is, The 10 worst shark attacks in history. Yeah, and that's
right.
all it is. And
My favorite is Shark Attack Experiment live.
Oh, no. So somebody lost a bet, and we're throwing them in the tank with the pork chop.
Right.
It's ridiculous the way we sensationalize everything, but especially in this case because sharks are fascinating creatures. Is it true? I'm pretty sure it is that they don't really sleep as we consider sleep. They have to keep moving, right?
So that's true for some species. There's a whole group of species that have to keep swimming forward to ventilate or to respire, to get that oxygen content. And for them, yes, they do have to keep moving to some degree. So sleep for them looks very different, where they might just kind of slow down or shut their brain down a little bit, but there is still that forward movement. But there's a whole nother group of sharks that have the ability to sit on the bottom. So these are a lot more bottom-dwelling species called benthic species. They have the ability to sit on the bottom, and then they use muscles to kind of pump water over their gills. So when they're swimming, they will use that ram ventilation where the water's flowing over the gills, but then they can stop and sit on the bottom and hang out, and they have special muscles that will do that for them.
I think you've explained something. The shark attacks are coming from the ones that can't stop swimming or they'll die. They're cranky. They haven't had a nap their entire life. That's the entire problem there. Jill Hendon.
Oh, man.
With the USM Center for Fisheries Research and Development. I enjoyed it. Come back again. I can talk about this all day, and I would love to if we can get you back in here another time.
Would love to. Thanks, Dave.
Anytime. Final segment of Mornings on the way next. Keep it here.
From the Venable Glass Truck.
On your smart speaker, phone, computer, and FM on your radio. Everywhere you listen, you'll find the voice of Mississippi. Mornings with Richard Cross on SuperTalk Mississippi.
Welcome back. One more go around for this Thursday morning on Mornings, presented by Community Bank. When it comes to money, you don't just get trust. You have to earn it. Well, that's why Community Bank does things the old-fashioned way. When you go to them, they take the time to listen to you and discuss any questions you have. It doesn't matter if you're saving, spending, or planning ahead. You find bankers who know the community because they're a part of it. That's why it's called Community Bank. Banking designed with you in mind. You can visit them in person or online at communitybank.net. Yesterday, my buddy Sean Tyndall was on the show talking about getting a pay raise for state troopers. Tried last year, didn't quite work out. Big surprise to everybody on planet Earth. I wholeheartedly support that idea, but I want to make an addendum. Make sure the radio operators are included in that. They don't get thought about a lot. And admittedly, there are reasons. They're not usually getting shot at like troopers. But they are an important part of the machine. Because, well, if a call goes in and there's nobody there to take it, it kind of bogs down the works a little bit. So I would just say, make sure they're included in that as well. But aside from that, yes, wholeheartedly support that. It's always a good idea. I've never seen anybody that got an adequate amount of pay for leaving their house and running the risk of, just running through my head some examples in my lifetime, getting run over on the side of the road, getting shot, getting taken hostage. You can go on and on and on about things that have happened, not that could happen, that have happened. Yeah, everybody with the badge is aware of that. They know what they're doing when they walk out the door. They know what's on the line. And they know at any given moment things could go horrifically wrong through no fault of their own. I'm not sure it's possible to pay them enough for that, but we have to get back to paying people for the level of work they do. Here's what I mean by that. Two of the lowest paid professions, law enforcement, I'll just say first responders in general, include the fire people in this, but first responders and teachers. Name a more important job than those two. Why are they paid the least? Or down towards the bottom at the very least? Why? Everyone who is willing to put on a badge, kiss their kids goodbye, and walk out the door, not knowing if they're going to walk back in later in the day, deserves everything we can give them. And I can't believe it's a discussion. I can't believe it's a debate that we have to have. Well, I'm not sure, in the budget. I'm pretty sure we now have a state acorn. I think we can break off a couple of minutes to have this conversation. That's one of the most frustrating things, because just like teachers, law enforcement is a calling. These are people that when things went bad, they would be the people that Mr. Rogers used to call the helpers. When there's trouble, look for the helpers, right? Getting paid, not getting paid, got that as a job, doesn't matter. They run towards the danger, towards the problem. Teachers, it's a calling to educate the kids, to be there to help mold the kids and future generations. They're not in it for the money. That doesn't mean they shouldn't get it. It's my take on that. I'll probably get, amazingly enough, you wouldn't think so, I'll probably get angry messages about that. I know, because I've had this conversation before on the air, and I've gotten the messages. And that's ludicrous. We have such a skewed sense of priorities that it's, at this point, it's embarrassing. And we have to work on that. It shouldn't be a discussion. It shouldn't be a debate. There shouldn't be back and forth for years about whether or not the people that do the most vital jobs in our society deserve to be paid like it. That shouldn't even be a conversation we have to have. My thought, my opinion. What do I know? I use phrases like kicks like a Missouri mule, so take it for what it's worth. Will, enjoyed it, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Good job as always. Not quite done for the week. Tomorrow, not here in the morning. I'm on middays tomorrow from 10 until 1, so about 20 hours from now, we'll be back, my friend. I'll see you then.
A SuperTalk Mississippi Media production.